Hey there, honey bunnies. Welcome to episode 149 of your Sovereign Storytellers podcast with your host, Michelle Wolf. Some of you may have noticed that have added my first name. So most of my social media has been changed to Laura Michelle Wolf. Laura is my first name. And there's a long story about why I'm using it that I don't want to go into now, but it occurs to me as I'm saying this, I probably should for anyone else who's, um, you know, wrestling the shift from one identity to another. So I often get asked this. This is the last thing I'll say about it. Oh, which one's your real name? This question always baffled me. Like, what do you mean real name? I don't have a invisible name or a fake name. Like, is that what you mean? Like, how can what I say my name is have that question? And even when I say, okay, Laura Michelle is what's on my actual birth certificate. It's just in the South, it's common to go by a double name or by a middle name instead of a first name. And then I would still get asked that question. Well, which one's your real one? Well, they both are. They all are. Whatever name you want to call yourself is your real name. So if you've ever been asked that question, just look at people. Don't even bother. don't even answer that question. It's so silly. Anyway, so your host, Laura Michelle Wolf. And I'll do an episode about that. Or maybe, do y'all want to know and how names work with your identity? If you do, leave a comment and I will do an episode on it. But what I wanted to talk to you about today is what I've been talking a lot on Facebook and Substack. If you haven't found my Substack, it's michellewolf.substack.com with nothing in front of it. If you put the W's, you won't find it. Just straight up michellewolf.substack.com. It's the Sovereign Storytellers part of my world. So I've been talking a lot about power and choice. A couple of years ago, I'm not a big follower of goddesses, and most people I work with know I'm not a fan of complicated rituals. Unless it's something you truly enjoy doing and it's involving your body and it's not something you think, oh, if I don't do this right, I'm going to fuck it up. Like, rituals are what they are, but I'm a fan of straight to source. Except a couple of, well, not except, but a couple of times in my life I've been visited repeatedly by a couple of different, we'll say, goddess energies. Powerful energies, the Kailiak when I was still in LJ and everything was about to fall apart, and it sure did, and it fell apart for several years. She was right there, and I didn't even know who she was. Like, I had to Google, I see a woman who wears this and that, and she shows up like this, and I was like, oh, it's let me say it carefully. It's a vulva, Volva, V-O-L-V-A. I have talked about this on a previous episode. I'm always, nervous about saying that. Like, I mean, I guess I could call her a vulva, but that seems awkward and probably incorrect. Again, although that is a power source. Okay, now I'm being ridiculous. And so for a couple of years, Hecate energy has been with me. I kept drawing that card over and over and over and over and over and over again when I was fucking around and being a big baby about my health. I wasn't sticking to what worked for my body. I was throwing a big fit and cheating and thinking I didn't have to do all the things. This is addict mind, right? I have a very addictive mind. I come from a whole long line of addicts, and I'm intelligent. And so intelligent people really struggle with sobriety because they look for loopholes. Spend your time looking for loopholes. The doctor says if you follow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this isn't true of all doctors, but for blood sugar issues, it's not complicated. Follow steps 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, and you'll be out of the pre-diabetic zone, and you'll never go into the diabetic zone. And I followed the steps, and it damn sure worked, and everything came back down. And then I started looking for loopholes. well, maybe. And the numbers started going back up. And then every time I pulled a card for something, I would get Hecate, Goddess of the Crossroads. I am not an expert on her. I just go to Google. You'll find somebody who's an expert. But again, my favorite path is to say, okay, I don't know what this energy is. Come and talk to me and have a direct experience with that energy. But it's a crossroads. You're standing in a position where you need to pick left or you need to pick right and be grown up about it. Making decisions requires you to be a grown up. I don't want to grow up. I've got areas of my life that I still love being a big baby about. But I can't because that's the theme song of the baby, right? I can't because victim baby. So I can't because this or that or the other thing. So this is a long way around to come back to. Hecate energy says you choose. You be a grown up and you choose. Are you gonna go back down pre-diabetic path and end up with diabetes and on medication and die a long, horrible, ugly death? Or are you going to do it differently? And neither one is right or wrong. We tend to think at crossroads that we got to get it right. But energies don't come from positions of morality. You choose. Pulling that card over and over again, run across all these references of Hecate who I've never worked with, didn't even know that much about, is an indicator from showing me like there's something here for you. If you're seeing it, it's for you. Because I never saw her before. She's been around. I spent a long time as a kid looking into mythology and gods and goddesses and this, that, and the other thing. So her name was not unfamiliar, but she never had my attention until it was time. So you can assume, if you're seeing something outside of you and you're seeing it repetitively, it's for you. And you need to sit down and go, why do I keep seeing you? Why do you keep showing up in cards no matter which card deck I use? What is this about? Okay, so I had to choose. Go left, experience diabetes and what that's like and how to die from a preventable disease. Or I could turn right and experience life without that. So it's not like everything went away. I still have issues. I still have an autoimmune disorder that messes with my connective tissues and water retention and all the things. So it's not like, oh, I'll turn right and then everything's going to be fine. No. If I turn right, I don't have to deal with diabetes. I do still have other stuff, though. It's not magical, and it's not moral. One way's one experience, the other way's another experience, and the third way is just to stand there and dither about it till you fall down dead. I mean, there are three ways there. You can continue not choosing and stay in a state of chaos. You have that choice. And again, neither of those three choices are good, bad, or anything else. They're just choices. Okay, so in talking about lately about power and choosing, I'll get people saying, I choose, or I chose, or I've chosen. But when you choose the path of power, you don't get to lay down and act like a big baby for long. Because life will come along and kick you in the ass because you are not resonant with the baby path anymore. Nothing against babies. I love a fat little baby. We're talking in metaphors, right? And analogies. So there's a progression here, and this discussion does form the core of my work. I've talked about it many, many times. Probably till some people got sick of me and left, and that's fine. Because I can't shut up about it because it is the whole theme of my life. This progression of awakening is the bottom line. And my mission on this planet is to keep pointing out the truth as I know it, and to keep being the Cassandra and saying, hey, y'all are about to run off a cliff. And then having people tell me to fuck off and then fall off a cliff. She's a theme in my life, okay, and I'm fine with that too. But when you choose the path of power, all the places where being a big baby get louder. All the places where you're doing that. Well, I can't because I don't have mom and daddy's money, or I can't because I have $1 zillion in student loan debt, which I do. I can't because I don't have um I don't have the tech stack. I don't know how to do ads. I don't know how to Yeah, it's just puppy barking. Somebody come and fix it. Somebody do the work for me. The truth is, I don't really want to do the work. I'd rather just bitch and moan about other people who are doing the work, because that then gets me off the hook. I don't have to be responsible. I get to just be a chubby little baby having a chubby little baby life. But I know that most of y'all don't want a chubby baby life. Like the shitty diaper analogy. You're used to sitting in the chubby baby shitty diaper, but it's not what you really want. It's just what you know. So when you choose to say, I'm choosing power, I'm choosing empowerment, I'm choosing to wake up to my life, well, then you're going to get woke up. And then you're going to see that, oh shit, I've been sleeping for 40 years or whatever. And then you fall asleep. And then you get woke up again. Sometimes gently, sometimes painfully. But over time, you become someone who, when they hit a barrier, they don't collapse. Oh, this isn't working. Well, fuck it. Oh, well, I just don't even try anymore. Because I did these things and this didn't happen and I didn't make any money, so I just don't anymore. Okay, that's baby energy. That's victim, chubby baby, shitty diaper energy. I can't because I tried all that. I did all that. I already know all this. These are the things your mind says, all human minds say so repetitively that they're a cliche, unless you're asleep inside the cliche and then you don't see it. I can't because, well, she has this and I don't. Well, he has this and I don't. Well, they had that and I don't. Lots of people like to say, well, Bill Gates' mama was on the board at Hewlett Packard. All right. But there's other people out there that said, okay, Bill Gates' mom got him in the door and he built all this cool stuff. But so what? I can build cool stuff too. That's when you shift into adult energy. You stop throwing fits and tantrums and you stop spending any time. And let me just interrupt myself. I know this because I live this constantly. I much prefer chubby baby whiny butt land. Pity party land. That's my familiar bad feeling place. I love it there. It's so comfortable and familiar. I should take that back. I loved it there until about, I don't even know how long. I guess not that long in the scheme of things. Now it's so toxic and gross to me that when someone comes at me with it, I want to throw up. And I get mad because it's so toxic. It's like if someone comes up and threw a big bag of old, greasy French fries on you or something. Like, you'd probably be pissed. Like, why are you throwing these old, disgusting, oily, yuck French fries on me? I don't like it. Get away from me. Stop doing that. So that's on me, and that's not always the best reaction to have, but that is what's happening lately. When the chubby baby shitty diaper pity party land energy approaches, my sword comes out. Stop it. Stop it. I turn into Bob Newhart and I want to start slapping. Oh, wah. Stop it. Stop it. I don't even want to hear it. And I say that to myself. When my voice goes to, oh, but look at her sales page. This happened to me just a few weeks ago when I ran across a famous person's sales page, someone I don't follow because I don't like them. I don't like the way they do things. The energy is not congruent. Stopped following a decade ago. And so I didn't see a sales page. And then I saw it and I was like, look at that. That bitch has done everything that I never even dreamed of. Like, this page is glorious and I'm a piece of shit. My program will right back into shitty diaper pity party land for about half an hour. Even wasted energy by pointing it out to other people. Immediately, I run to my sister. Have you seen this? Look at what she did. And Heather Westmoreland, she got an earful too. And then I used it as a teaching moment because that's what happens. You hit the thing, you hear the kickoff in your head, and you, fortunately, once you've done this enough, it doesn't run away with you for long. I'm shocked I lost 30 minutes doing it before I flipped, because usually it takes much less time. But it really hit me in the heart. That one really hit me in the gut because I was just struggling with how to keep this program alive and how to say it differently and how to promote it differently to grow it. And then I ran across that. Okay, so that is, let's say, Hecate energy, kicking you in the ass, kicking me in the ass, and saying, you know what? You could do it this way. And then I'm like, oh my God, look at the perfection. And then when I felt into it, it didn't feel good. It still doesn't feel good, right? It's the strategy and the feeling. All the words were there, and we all know famous people don't write their own copy on sales pages. So whoever wrote that copy, very impressed. But it wasn't me. It didn't feel like me. And your people want how you feel. Yeah, some people will be initially attracted by the language you're using, the words you're using, but they stick around and eventually purchase from you because of the feeling of it. In the coachy world, right? We tend to be more of people who follow feeling, energetics, less so than the perfect copy or the perfect sales page. George Cow's a great example. Hasn't updated his website in like a billion years. And he'll tell you this himself, like his website is garbage. But it doesn't matter. He's fine. Because in this world that we're in, we tend to follow energetics. So anyway, so that happened. And so that is when you choose the path of power, you get the thunks on the head. You get the cosmic 2x4 whack in the skull or on your butt when you're falling asleep again. Because you said, I choose the path of power. Here I go. Well, and then it's hard because you don't know it. You don't know this path. You just chose it 5 minutes ago. Then it gets hard, and then you're like, I should have turned left, or, oh, let me backtrack and think about this for another 40 years. Let me weigh my options and make pro and con lists, and even worse, let me go ask everybody on every social media platform what they think I should do. Ugh. Right? Am I right? Oh, come on. It's so yucky. And we all do it, and we don't need to beat ourselves up about it, but we do need to wake up to it. If you choose the path of power, you have to wake up. You can't stay in your shitty diaper anymore. You have to take the diaper off. And maybe you need to wear pull-ups for a while before you graduate to not needing anything. But it gets uncomfortable. So you can't say, I want to be powerful until it gets uncomfortable, and then I want to spend all, days and days and weeks and months grinding the axe about I can't because axe. It doesn't work that way. It's not like that. This is a you can't have your cake and eat it too moment. You can't turn left and constantly be looking over your shoulder to the path that went right. You can't turn right and constantly be looking back to the crossroads or back down the road to where you would have gone if you turned left. You've chosen. You chose. And you will never go back to that crossroads moment. You can tangle yourself all up and blow up your life because as the shadows start to get the sunlight shone on them, I don't know. Stuff starts to light up and you start to see it, and you're going to want to run the other direction. But you can't because you already know better. Because you already said, I choose. So you already chose to put your energy on a different trajectory, a different frequency. So now everything back there and everything on that other path is not a match for you. And when you try to go back, it's more painful than trying to go forward. Okay? That sucks, right? Going forward is painful. Going back is more painful. But the thing is, when you keep going through the discomfort of choosing a new path, and we'll just say choosing the path of empowerment, choosing the path of awakeness, consciousness, so that you become a real deliberate creator. It's not just something you listen to Esther Hicks say ad infinitum, ad nauseum. You start to live that deliberate creative experience, deliberately creative. What am I trying to say? You start to live as a conscious creator. You start to take responsibility for everything that you see and you're aware of. Not in the beat yourself up Louise Hay thing. Oh, I guess I went off and fucking created cancer. Like, not in that way. But, oh, I have cancer. What do I want to do now? Oh, I have this autoimmune disorder that has completely changed the way I'm able to do life. And I pissed and moaned about it. Finally found what it is. And had to go through a grieving process of, wow, I have to do life differently now. And I cried about it a lot, and I grieved about it a lot. After I stopped whining about it, then I grieved it. And now it's like, all right, I have to wear an exoskeleton, basically, of compression pants and compression this and that. And there's things I have to do, and if I don't do them, I suffer mightily. So that's the difference. Like, the suffering is short term and leads to productivity, satisfaction, figuring out how to, I always did life this way, can't do it that way anymore. What do I do now? Oh shit, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. But it's this or that. So I'm going to stick with this, and then the pain ends. And then you're just living your life on a different frequency. And then you actually start to forget about how miserable you were on the other path or at the crossroads, which can be the hardest time for us because we have to pick and we don't love it. So I've said a lot and will always say, you're going to suffer. Life is suffering. What you do with that is up to you. So if you're going to suffer anyway, this is what I always come back to. You're going to be uncomfortable one way or the other. You might as well pick the path that's uncomfortable for a short period of time. Then you get a break. And then life keeps happening and you choose again and it's uncomfortable again. And then you get a break. The other path, you never get a break. It's just miserable, 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 dead. Ew. That is so gross. I would much rather, now that I can see it, be miserable, miserable, get a break, grow, have some cool stuff. Oh, miserable, miserable again, get a break. Oh, look at this cool stuff. Oh, there's this other thing to reach for. Oh, there's another brass ring. Oh, there's another thing to experience. Miserable, miserable, blah, 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 blah. To me, that's better. Short-term misery, get a break, experience some cool shit. Do it again, and again, and again, and again, and then dead, physically. Does this make sense? Can you understand that when you say, I choose this, there's consequences to that? And those consequences involve some intense pain of waking up, and then stepping back and falling asleep. Waking up, falling asleep, waking up, something whacks you, you wake up again, you're, oh shit, I just lost a decade. Wake up again, wake up again, wake up again. So there's no point in whining about life shifting and making you uncomfortable, because that is natural consequences. That's not God spitting on you. That's not your guides telling you, oh, I told you you should have wada wada. And you didn't do it, so now your life's in the shitter. That's not any creature or being or energy doing that to you. There's no morality. You went left or you went right or you're still standing dicking around at the crossroads. That's all that is. That's all it is. You did this, you didn't do that, or you did this other thing, which means you chose not to do that other thing. There's no morality here. There's no one punishing you. This is the natural consequences. This is nature. This is energetic mechanics. It's replicatable. Replicable. This is my accompaniment. My accompanist. You can replicate it. It happens every single time. Part of my human design is spotting patterns. I'm really good at it. Oh, this is familiar. Oh, here's this pattern again. Oh, look at them. They're still doing that pattern. Oh, with the patterns. We are pattern creatures. Everything is. And then there's choices that create a ripple in the pattern, and things happen. And most of the time, I'm going to say 99% of the time, that temporary suffering I talked about is us generated. I generate that. Because I'm like, oh, but I wish I could eat the pizza. Oh, I don't like these compression pant things, leggings that hold me together, literally. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, that's me making the temporary suffering part infinitely more painful than it needs to be. I'm not saying it will ever be pain-free, because our brain is designed to keep our identity intact while completely forgetting that we've had 100 identities before the one we have now. And if we're good at it, if we're willing, if we're courageous, we will have another 100 identities before this physical body is like, check please, and steps out. We step out. We dissolve. Yeah? But our brain doesn't remind you of that. That's where you have to wake up enough to be the grown-up to go, oh, you know what? We actually don't have our toddler identity anymore. We actually don't have to wear a shitty diaper anymore. We actually are not 13 still. We actually are not that anymore. We've already changed identities again and again and again and again. And we will change them again and again and again. What a boring life if you never changed identity. Ugh. Ew. I don't want that. I don't want it for me, and I don't want it for anybody else. And also, everybody gets to choose. But if you're going to stay listening to the podcast, following the Substack, you're going to get a poke in the side sometimes that says, bro, what are you doing? Grow up. You're not a baby. When you hit the wall, you don't sit down into your crappy diaper. You go, oh, shit, I just ran into a wall. I can see how that person does their program. I can see how this person does their program. And instead of going, oh, I guess I can never do my program, I'm just going to sit down here in my warm, shitty diaper that I so love. You don't do that. Now you draw on power and you go, oh, okay, wait a minute. I saw her program for a reason. If there's any point in your life that can be summed up by there's a reason for that, it's the stuff you see and are aware of. But again, it's not God turning your head to look at the thing over there. It's your resonance. You're reaching for more power, so you need to see examples of that. It's all resonant with what you're doing, everything that you're aware of. So you go, oh, I'm aware of that. That hurts. Oh, geez. Oh, my God. And then it's like, oh, okay, that's a great example. Now, I don't really like the feel of this. So how would this become me? What I liked about the page was the structure and the coherence in it. When my brain is not structured and coherent, as y'all know, queen of the tangents, queen of the wandering around. And eventually bumping up against the answer, like, oh, here it is. I was just wandering around for 40 years in the desert looking for this thing, and I finally found it. You know what I mean? So when you hit the wall, you don't sit down. You don't throw your hands up in the air. Like you don't, just don't care. Like that's a party thing. You don't do that in life. You hit the wall and you start. Here's your power move. Here's your pro tip. You start asking questions. Oh, wow, I really like that. And you stop. You put the period at the end of the sentence where it belongs. Oh, I really like that. I guess mine now is a piece of shit and I'm never ever gonna, and why didn't I, and how come, and she has a team, and la 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 la, and her mother's famous, and yada yada yada. That ends. Oh God, I really like how that person structured that thing. Oh wow, I really like how that person has kicked diabetes to the curb. Oh gosh, I really love that person's marriage and how they do marriage. I just love that. Do you hear how in the pause is the power? Oh, there's the podcast title. In the pause is the power. That's where the power is. You have a choice. You're at the crossroads. Hecate's thumping you on the head, and she's like, all right, you wanted to be powerful. Here's a choice point. Gotta choose. What are you gonna do? Diapers one direction. Further exploration and growth is the other direction. Pick. Choose. Get your foot on the path and start walking. Knowing that it's going to be uncomfortable, knowing that life doesn't stop being life, knowing that you're going to run into a brick wall and you're at another choice point. And you have to choose again. I don't know what my next choice point will be. I've sure had a lot of them this year, and I really would like to whine about it. I've had to choose about housing again and again and again. I've had to choose about some programs. I've had to choose, do I want to stop being a freelancer and be a W-2 employee? I had to make that choice. If you want to be powerful and you choose to start saying that, this is what's going to happen to you. And it's glorious. It is satisfying in ways, oh my gosh, the pride you can feel in yourself when you overcome an obstacle. When you are presented with your chubby baby shitty diaper pity party land all day access pass on a silver platter, you go, no. That's gross. That's an ew. I'm a no to that. Thank you very much. I'm going to go this other way. Even though I can only see one step in front of me, even though I'm going to have a moment of like, oh God, and then I'm going to remind myself, because I'm a grown-up that tells myself the truth. You remind yourself, hey buddy, this is it. This is life. This is the way identity shifts go. You know that. Come on now. And you get yourself by the scruff of the neck and you keep going. For the sake of the going. Not because the if this then that. I have lots of podcast episodes about if this then that. If you're doing it for the if this then that, it's just going to be worse. It's not like you won't ever have the success you want. It's just harder and more painful, and it's unnecessary. If I do this, then I'll be the princess. If I do this, then I'll be queen of the universe. If I do this, then I'll have 500K annual with a team that never gets mad at each other. Please. Not gonna happen. I'm going to choose this because it feels alive to me. I'm going to choose this because it's amping up my energy. It's raising my energy, even though I know it's going to be hard and I'm going to get scared and I'm going to have periods of where I'm whining and I have to catch myself and I have to stop whining. I know all this stuff is going to happen and I'm still going to choose this path because this is the path that's dynamic. This is the path that is powerful. This is the path of life flowing through my physical body and echoing out into reality and forming a movie out in front of me that I get to witness and create more of and create more of and more of and more of. So much better. So much better. In my opinion. Power is in the pause. When you hit the wall, you stop. When you see Hecate showing up 42 times in 17 days, you go, oh, I guess this is important. Let me take a look into this lady. Who is she? Why is she here? When dragons start showing up in your dreams every damn night and you've never been interested in dragons, then you need to stop and go, what the hell is going on here with these here dragons? Why all the dragons? And then a dragon is like, oh, hello. It changes your life. So the pause is for you to ask questions. I've probably been talking forever and I'm just now getting to the answer. The power's in the pause. You choose, you turn right, you progress, your identity starts to fall apart, life starts to get painful, you run into a wall and you go, diapers on one side, freedom's on the other side. All right, I'm going to choose power again. I'm going to choose freedom again. Now what? Here comes the questions. The questions are the key. The questions are the key. The most powerful key you have. The most powerful tactic that I know of in the whole world for humans. When we ask questions, boop, we are right in alignment with the energy of life itself because life is always growing and expanding. When we ask a question, it still might be painful because we may not like the answers we get. God forbid somebody asks me a direct question. They'll get it. I'll get sideways questions. I'll get roundabout questions. I'll get this and that or the other questions, which just make my life difficult. So a lot of times I just won't answer them these days. Because I know that if that person is asking a question at all, they're already on their way. And they may not even be available to hear the answer. And that's me too. There's been times in my life where I asked people who were further along the path a dumb question. And yes, it was a dumb question. And they didn't answer me. And then I had to deal with my own shit. And then I woke up and was like, oh, thank God they didn't answer that question. When we're asking questions, we are in the power. When we hit the wall and we say, oh, whoosh, I've been doing this thing and it's not getting the results I want, my mind wants. Why am I doing this thing? Do I love this thing enough to keep doing it even if not one single person ever hears it, sees it, buys it, uses it, benefits from it? Would I still keep doing this thing? If the answer to that is no, drop it immediately. Go get a job at fucking Wendy's or whatever you need to keep food on your table and take care of your family. But stop doing that thing. If you won't do it for the joy of it, then there's no joy in it. I keep making these things that I make because I love them. I love them. I have flipped and flopped and fallen off cliffs, and I love sharing it with you. Like, oh, I fucked it up again. Here's what happened. Now, you can learn from that unless you're a line 3 or a line 6 in human design. When you're going to hear it, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, and you're going to have to do your own direct experience and then teach the people what you learned, right? But I do it because I love it. I don't make money off this podcast. And it's been way too long that I did an episode because I've been sitting by the wall trying to figure out what to do. What do I want to do next? This thing happened. Holy hell, what do I want to do now? I have been sitting in the questions for months. But the questions are what starts the answers coming to you. My experience was that it got to where I couldn't get a reading to save my life. I kept spending money on psychics and whatever's trying to find answers, and it dried up. Like I would get stuff that wasn't even close to what, I mean, it was just information out of completely left field. Like I would say something like, what do I do about my marriage? And they would say, buy stock in ConAgra. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm trying to, it would just get so off the wall. And then finally it was like, okay, I have to do my own psychicness. I have to open my own pathways. I can't get a straight answer or a useful answer from anyone right now. And that's when you know it's time to shift your identity again. And it's not that I never go get advice. I do. I bought a reading from Dawn Schleiser not that long ago. She's amazing. But I only do that when I've asked a ton of questions and I need a sounding board. I am a projector in human design. Having a sounding board is helpful. And also, we can't always see our own stuff. That's why we pay coaches and therapists. To point out, like, oh, did you realize you've been running into that same brick wall for the last 17 years? Did you realize that if you just scoot over 2 inches to the left, you'll run right past it? Okay, so it's not a moral thing. It's not that you've been fucking it up. It's not that you're doing anything wrong. It's that you are stuck and you need to choose and understand what's going to happen after you choose. And then when you get quagmired, you start asking questions. Well, how can I see this differently? How come I keep pulling the same damn card, even when I use 15 different decks? What the hell is going on here? And then I will say, please wake me up. Please wake me up. There's something here I can't see. Please help me see it. Sometimes I make the mistake of asking other people to help me see it, but that doesn't work because it just doesn't. And then I look at the world. What is my attention drawn to now that I've asked this question? And what happened? Oh, the reason I was talking about you can't get answers from psychics at some point in your development, because then you have to start getting your own stuff. And what happens is you'll ask the question and then you're looking, okay, what's going to get my attention that's going to bring me this answer? And that's the thing, when a book falls off a shelf or you overhear a conversation at Starbucks or whatever, or someone is like, hey, do you remember whatever? And you're like, oh my God, that's it. And it clicks and then you're off again. You're running again. You're through the wall. But what happens then, the next step is you hit the wall and you start asking questions and the answers are right there. Sometimes people call this their guides tell them. I don't know what that is. I don't ascribe to it. It's not a part of my worldview because of sovereignty stuff. And also, it's a both and kind of situation. I'll ask a question and I'll hear an answer. And to me, that's me. It doesn't take the shape of a guide. It's not a different voice. It's a knowing. What in the world do I do to get past this? Boom. See a picture of a book, or hear a title, or hear someone's name. So however that works for you, I'm not anti-guide. I mean, I channel stuff. That doesn't feel like me, but it could be me. I don't know. I don't care about stuff like that. But if you're like, oh, I heard my guide say, that's fine. Whatever works. However it comes to you. Ask the question, get the answer. Don't give any of it all your power. Recognize it's... I was about to go off on a tangent, but I'm not going to. I think y'all know what I mean. Like, be careful that you're not letting the mind wear the mask of an angel and tell you a bunch of nonsense. Like, just explore that. Be careful with that. So you stop being able to get readings, you start to ask questions, and then you look out at the world and you get your answers, and then you start to ask questions and the answers are just right there. But nothing can answer you till you ask the question. That's why we have to pause. And that's how we shift the balance. That's how we choose again the path of empowerment. I'm going to stop and I'm going to, I'm not clear. I don't know what's happening. The world is giving me feedback. Everything I try to do is blowing up in my face. What's this about? Even that kind of question, like, what the hell's going on here, is enough, because it stops the pushing, right? Before we stop and ask the questions, we're just standing there. Let me bang my head on the wall. Oh, I've got brick prints in my forehead and there's blood running all down on my face, but let me just bang my head on this wall some more. And you get tired of doing that. And you're like, what the hell? What the hell is going on around here? And if you're willing, and by the time you ask a question, you're willing. What I'm suggesting is, don't beat your head against that wall. The wall is there. You don't need to try and bust through it. You don't need to go find some dynamite, lay it at the base of the thing, blow the wall up, because it will just reappear. The smoke will clear and the damn wall will still be there. Yeah? So, ask a question. Oh, shit. Why is this wall here? What the hell is going on around here? Why is this thing not working? How come I'm getting nonsense when I ask other people questions? What's happening here? What's trying to happen here? What is trying to be born here? What is trying to get my attention? What am I not seeing that if I saw it, everything would unravel and I'd be going back again? What wants to happen here? It's an extremely powerful question. Okay, I think it's supposed to be this way. Life is showing me something different and I'm miserable. Please show me what I need to see. What am I missing? What am I missing here? Something's happening here. What am I missing? Please show me. And it will come. I'm saying I'm empowered. I keep getting some indicators that say I'm wrong. I want to escape to my familiar bad feeling place. And where did I move my shitty diaper? I would like my shitty diaper back, please. And life is like, no, you actually already chose a path that you don't get to wear that anymore. Okay. And when I say life says, it's you said, the energetics say. You can't be on road to the left and also be on road to the right when you are encased in a meat suit. It doesn't work like that. What else is trying to happen here? What else am I missing? So you get some answers, you go, okay, show me more, show me more. It might be uncomfortable, but I'm willing. That's another powerful one. I'm willing to see what's trying to happen here. I'm willing to see where I am in my own way. I'm willing to eat crow if I have to. I'm willing to experience shame and embarrassment if I have to. I'm willing to. Because the truth matters the most to me. I want to see where I'm doing it to myself so I can stop that and maybe have a little more fun. Okay? So, I'm going to wrap this up because I've been talking for a long time. My goodness, almost an hour. So, the podcast is my example of a freedom spot where I just don't care. I'm going to say what I'm going to say. The people who need to hear it will hear it. Maybe they become clients and customers. Maybe they don't. Most of the time, I don't even know about who's hearing it or who's not hearing it because I certainly don't look at the numbers. I don't have advertisers. I quit doing the intro and outro. Someday I might pick that up again, but it's doubtful. So you can voice record. That can be extremely powerful because you're hearing your own voice. You just ask those questions into a voice recorder, which is basically what the podcast is. Me asking questions, me experiencing things, and then blabbing them to you because I want to. Voice record Journal. Journals can be tricky though. We can fool ourselves in journal, especially if you're smart and crafty and good at getting around yourself and slowly through writing convincing yourself it's actually not your fault. It is that stupid person's fault. So be careful about that. Voice record it. Talk to the trees. I'm not kidding. Talk to your cat. Talk out loud. Human design stuff will say projectors need sounding boards. Everybody needs a sounding board. Everybody often finds answers and gets insight through talking, whether it's to someone else or an inanimate object. And honestly, for me anyway, I get relevant answers to my questions the fastest when I don't talk to other people. Other people can confuse me. With very good intentions, they confuse me. My energy gets tangled up in theirs, and then I'm like, oh, geez, now I'm totally cloudy. Talk to yourself. Talk to a voice recorder. Talk it out. Ask the questions. Take the pause. Take the pause. Ask the questions and then keep going. See? Simple. No biggie. No need to put that diaper back on. No need to slip back into chubby baby shitty diaper days. Just over it. Just moving along, doing. Okay, that's all I got. If there are things you want to hear about, if you'd like an episode about, drop a comment wherever it is you're listening to this. Although I don't have Apple Podcasts, so I'm not sure if I would see the comment, but you can find me on Facebook. Now, I did fuck this up. I changed my name on Facebook and didn't realize it was going to change my URL too. I don't know how I missed that fairly obvious technical fact, but I did. And so all the years of saying, you can find me at Michelle Wolf 11 are over. Well, I was really not happy when I figured that out. So it's facebook.com/Laura, Laura, Michelle with 2 L's and Wolf with 2 F's now. I'm also back on Twitter at the Wolf Codes. You got the Substack URL. And where else? Instagram, the Wolf Codes. I still have the at Michelle Wolf 11, but I'm never on it. Alright, is that it? I think that's it. Till I talk to you again. Think less, feel more. I'll talk to you later.